Welcome to BCB Live. Sir Rick, Drive Safe Dave. We made it through another holiday. Drive Safe Dave, as a matter of fact, we made it through the 100 deadliest days on BCB Live. Clear. 112 days of driving safe out there. That means we started it just 12 days before that challenge, right? When Buckle Up Bob said, you know what, it's the deadliest. And we said, we are up for it.
You know, I think last year we also were successful in the 100 deadliest days, and here once again we prove ourselves to be better by doing what needs to be done. 100 deadliest days gone by the wayside, and we pass through with flying colors as it drifts away in the background. And we continue on, forever increasing our streak, forever increasing that magic number to 112. Let's keep it going. We got next year to get to, right? We got another 100 deadliest days next year. Let's just roll right on around and get those knocked out.
Yeah, let's make sure that we're staying focused on what we're doing right now. 112 days, and make this day right now as safe as you did the previous 112 days. Do what Drive Safe Dave was saying and stay focused on that road. Understand where you're weak. Understand when you're tired. Understand when you're upset, you're mad. Understand when you just know that it's time to get off that highway. Recognize it, react, and then you must act. We're going to keep saying that because it takes action in what we do, Drive Safe Dave.
Yeah, we got a chance to do something different by doing better than we did yesterday, right? We did good yesterday. Let's do better today. In fact, let's improve our skill set. Let's do something a little bit better every day and make ourselves the best, the safest station in the nation by doing what needs to be done out there on the road every day.
6 days of getting out and look. We can continue to work on those streaks as well. Listen, those streaks will get greater than that north, right? We'll go north of that century mark if we get out and look. Folks, remember when you stop to get out and look before you back up every single time. We need you to do that. Drive Safe Dave. Boy, we continue to see some of the aftermath, right? Those numbers on the death toll continue to increase from Ida.
Yeah, we're at 68 right now, increasing. I saw a horrible story yesterday on a family of 3 trapped in a basement that passed, and we continue to see, you know, really the property damage and the physical damage and stuff like that just continues to mount as we continue to see more and more of the devastation about what's happening out there on the ground. As the waters recede, it's coming into full view just how bad it is out there and how bad it truly was across the country.
Yeah, President Biden making his visit today to the city of New York, New Jersey, to Queens specifically in that area. Just hard hit. And Drive Safe Dave, you speak about the video that came out yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
That was the family of 3. That was the last 3 added to the death toll as that family drowned in the basement.
Yeah, they were trying to reach them. I think there was some video yesterday. It's very sad. The police officers were trying to get down there. When they did finally get search and rescue down there, they had already passed. But very, very tragic. And, you know, this is there's going to be continued more. I don't know that it's over yet. I truly don't know that the numbers are over yet because of the incredible amount of physical property damage. Did you see the streets lined with just everybody's stuff? It looked like, so here you have it. You have two different ways to look at it. You got a hurricane that comes through and blows all your stuff everywhere, or that it rains and soaks it, so you got to set it out on the street.
It was, I mean, the streets were just littered with mattresses especially. I mean,
oh, yeah.
You just saw those stacked all over. Again, our hearts go out to them. Prayers continue to go to anybody affected from this storm, and it was huge, Drive Safe Dave, as it hit New Orleans and went all the way up through the East Coast.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's really amazing is just how much look at
the infrastructure, right?
Infrastructure. We got to continuously look at it because they were really stressed in these moments with those high rushing waters up underneath. We've got to really take a look at what's going on.
Yeah, and you know, just in time as we continue to talk about the infrastructure bill as well, boy, the infrastructure's got to get there. I mean, these basements, that's part of the sewage system up in New Jersey as well. Also being just beaten up there.
Subways took a hit.
Subways took a hit. So many things continue to take a hit from this infrastructure that must get repaired. Drive Safe Dave. Also, yesterday ended unemployment for over 8.7 million Americans is what they're saying came to an end.
Yeah, I think there's 2 different programs that were ended. One of them was the $300 extension on top, and the other one was
the aid to the self-employed, the gig workers.
Yeah, and I think the week extension was ended. So a lot of people were affected, 7 million in one, 3 million in another. So a lot of people are going to be faced with not getting that extra money, not getting what they've been relying on to succeed. And now they're going to be forced to, I think what they're trying to do is push people into the job market, or it's going to force people into the job market.
Yeah, and we hear a lot of people, one of the big, I don't want to say arguments on it, but let's face it, when what we're going through right now is going to be a lot of the single income families that have kids as well. Those are the ones that are going to be mostly affected by now with this right here. Drive Safe, they do say 5.7 million less jobs right now than before COVID. But on the other flip side, over 10 million jobs on the unemployed. There's 10 million jobs available as of last month.
Wow.
So a lot of jobs out there, but for some, they're going to go back and then have that child care back again, right? The challenges that we're going to face, and some of what we see, Drive Safe Dave, is we have to wonder, what's this, or how is this right now, how's it going to affect the economy? And I'm not talking about all the freight that's en route, all the freight that we ordered, 8 months ago that we still haven't received. I'm talking about maybe the end of 2022, 2023, when these 8.7 million folks right now that were affected aren't spending that money.
Don't have the money to spend.
Some would say they never had the money to spend, right? It was never available to them if they were, not to that degree, not the extra $300. So it's going to put a challenge on our economy. I'm curious to see what happens.
Yeah, we definitely have some difficult things to face. But we have to get back to work.
We've got to get back to work.
We've got to get back to work.
So
the answer is we've got to get back to work. We have to. We have to. Everyone has to get up. And if we want to help the country be better, do better, and help the economy, really fundamentally, right, Sir Rick, it is go out and get back to work.
Yeah, and we talk about 5.7 million less jobs than before COVID. Okay, those are hard numbers that the unemployment stats just, they say, and I'm not going to challenge those numbers, but when we get back to work, that creates other jobs as well.
Absolutely.
But we got to get back to work to create these additional jobs, that your entrepreneurs can do. Those that we're giving the aid to, that the self-employed right now. Well, listen, we see it here that so many places they can't open up. They can't have extended hours. I'm just talking extended. I'm saying up till 3 o'clock they're closed. They open up after 3. Those kinds of things like that, Drive Safe Dave, where they don't have the staffing, and we're curious to see, what happens next quarter, right, on the unemployment.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, it's kind of a domino effect. Look at it realistically. You've got some people that are going back to work. Businesses can't expand. They can't grow because they're squeezed in, right? They're squeezed with what jobs they have. So we can't grow business. We can't create new business. Who's going to go to work? I mean, you're going to try to, you got to create. You're going to open up a new restaurant right now when you can't even get anybody to cook or wait tables or do it. I mean, you've got it has to work, and we've got to find a way to figure out how to do this.
And let's face it, at the end of the day, Drive Safe Dave, the money that we're paying for this, the extra additional benefits, right?
Yep.
That's we've got to pay that money back. And one way to pay it back is to get back to work.
That's right.
That's one way to pay that back. We've got to quit giving that out. I don't know and it's not our kids, it's our grandkids. I guess it is our kids too. How are we ever going to pay that money back, Drive Safe?
Well, a great bolstering economy. And if you have a good, strong economy, it will naturally funnel money into the system. And by taxes, by all kinds of taxes, sales tax and all that, it'll funnel money into the system. But the only way to really do that is to everybody get back and get to work. If you have if you have no unemployment, you're looking at a strong economy that will, or communism, but you're looking at it.
It's a fine line, right?
Yeah, there's a fine line. There's a fine line between going back to work and then going back at gunpoint. But there is a fine line.
Hey, what a great time. You know what? We're going to come back to you in just a minute. We have news on Bitcoin. It becomes official currency for a country that we've already spoke about, and we do have freight and review as we talk about some of the freight, how it ties into this unemployment, how it ties back to us getting back to work. We'll see you in a minute and a half. This is BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
We begin tonight with the devastation and the rising death toll from Hurricane Ida. Exactly 1 week after it came ashore in southeast Louisiana, its remnants days later wreaking even more havoc, bringing historic and deadly flooding to the northeast. In all, killing at least 68 people. These images here released by the NYPD showing officers frantically trying to rescue people from a basement apartment hampered by rising water, locked doors, and live electricity. They were unable to reach the 3 people trapped, who all died, including a toddler. And we're getting a clearer picture from Grand Isle, Louisiana, scenes of near total destruction there. Local officials saying it will take months to recover. Long lines for food and supplies, sweltering heat with more than 500,000 customers still without power. In New Orleans, late word today that 5 nursing home residents have been found dead, 600 others evacuated after a check of facilities. ABC's senior meteorologist Rob Marciano leads us off.
Tonight, dramatic new video showing NYPD officers frantically trying to rescue a toddler and 2 adults from a flooded basement apartment. The officer repeatedly diving underneath the floodwaters in the submerged hallway, trying to reach the apartment, but couldn't reach the victims. Hurricane Ida now blamed for at least 68 deaths in 8 states, more than 50 lives lost in the Northeast alone. In New York City, many of the victims dying in flooded basements.
It smells like a sewer.
Mountains of debris piling up in Rye, New York. Furniture and toys destroyed in the flood. In Philadelphia.
Yeah, drive safe, Dave. We see some of that devastation. And when we talk about New Orleans, I know we were seeing some videos up in the Northeast. New Orleans, we still have 5 additional folks that we haven't added yet to the death toll as they're trying to decide whether or not that old folks home, do they add them to Ida or is that after Ida? Let's face it, the managers, and that's under attack right now. The managers of some of those nursing homes evacuated without making sure there were plans to take care of the old folks. At those homes. And drive safe. Some other news in New Orleans: 70% of the greater New Orleans is up and running on power again. So great news for that. 70%. But the other folks, let me say, they're saying the end of the month for a lot of the rest for the remaining folks.
I know. I saw a news clip the article. A couple of those island communities that are that only have like one bridge. They haven't even had emergency vehicles be able to access their areas yet. And yesterday I saw the Corps of Engineers actually got a fire truck through by making a military bridge across one of the waterways and was able to get an emergency vehicle into the region. And it's going to continue that way, not only with power, but with all facilities. You've got fresh water, you've got to have running water, you got to have sewage, you got to have all these infrastructure. We continue to talk about it, but are all damaged and seeing no way. I mean, they're under a water boil still. I mean, they're all under a water boil on all of their fresh water coming out of the taps everywhere.
Man, and great thing is that we did spend some money last time on the infrastructure in New Orleans. That did help in a lot of this right now. There's no telling how bad this could have been.
Absolutely.
Again, it just really does show this aging infrastructure that we're having right now is that we're going to fix it. We've got to spend money on it. That's the bridges. That's the overpasses. That's the roadways. That's the sewage. That's everything. Drive safe.
Yeah, and people don't even see some of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Like I mentioned it the other day, that pumping system that they rebuilt, there was no water in anywhere. In all that torrential rain, you could see in New Orleans, they really didn't have deep water anywhere because it was pumping out constantly. They actually were doing a great job of getting rid of the water that was trapped in the bowl.
Yes, sir. Hey, Bitcoin. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. It opens up today as the other legal tender in El Salvador.
Oh, let's see. We're going to talk about just the Bitcoin. We're going to talk about this regime. I mean, which one do you want to focus on?
Let's talk about Bitcoin first. So they're saying right now, drive safe, Dave. Here we go. the Salvadorians aren't ready for it, obviously, and the World Bank has warned against adoption of this. The 4.8% of those surveyed, DriveSafe, said, hey, we understand what Bitcoin is. 4.8% of the El Salvadorians say we understand what this means. But here's the other thing. They're getting paid $30 a Bitcoin. There you go. $30 to download that Bitcoin app, to download that wallet. So DriveSafe Dave, listen to this. That means 6.45 are getting ready to figure it out because they're going to get $30. And $30 may not seem significant, but understand the average home for a one-bedroom home in El Salvador is $300 for the month. So $30 is significant.
Yeah, and they're also talking about they're download the app. They're installing thousands of machines down there that you can transfer. So not only do you have Bitcoin, but you've got to transfer it over to legal tender. So so you may use Bitcoin out here in the cloud, but when you get it in the machine, what spits out is dollars and cents. Yeah. So you got to have cash in your hand. So it's kind of weird how they're doing it, but they're still going to be handing. So here I've got this Bitcoin, but you talk about guys that are going to get professional at the conversion rate.
There's no doubt. Let's face it, I'm one of the 4.8% of the El Salvador that doesn't understand it. I don't get it either.
I think 96% of the people don't understand exactly how it's going to work.
Yeah, I don't understand it myself. I don't get it. You have that in U.S. dollar too. Legalized tenders that they're going to recognize over in El Salvador. And DriveSafe, here's the other thing. I just question this. Again, not understanding Bitcoin at all. Is it a surprise that the World Bank has warned against it? They don't want you to adopt it. Is there anything, should they? it's like a competitor, right?
Yeah, no, I think it also has to do with the fact the World Bank doesn't want to adopt it because it's based on it's not a...
Yeah, it's a competitor. Why would they say adopt it? Hey, put me out of, not put me out of business.
Oh, yeah, let's just use anything and everything. Let's go back to the gold standard. But, I think what's really confusing is about the Bitcoin that because, a lot of money inflows into El Salvador, even from the United States, from people here, they send a lot of money over there.
Like 20% of their
is brought in
from that.
So they're talking about by using the Bitcoin, they're going to be able to hike up the charges because there's going to be a lot of transfer monies done that way. And I don't know exactly.
Well, those folks that are sending the money back home, they actually like it. They're big proponents of it because it takes away some of the fees that they were having in getting that money back.
Yeah, they're talking about.
I heard exactly opposite.
I heard they're going to find a way to hike up the prices. So I think they're always going to find a way to hike up the prices, right? They're not finding a way not to. They're going to find a way to hike it up.
Those folks that are sending money back are excited because the fees are less. That's all I'm saying right now.
The regime that's in power right now, I'm going to say that they're going to find a way to get their hand on any of it. We won't go into politics too much, but I'm going to say that is not a friendly regime.
You know what? We can probably get Mr. Jorge Bonilla out on this. Let's reach out to Jorge for maybe Wednesday or Thursday to enlighten us a little bit on what's going on with the Bitcoin news right here. Yeah. That's what he gets paid to do, not us. We're up here doing this. Jorge, we need some serious intelligence
your way
information.
To give us a little bit of back play on not only the success of the Bitcoin as it opens today, but let's hear a little bit about the politics in play that's going on out there and the business at hand, right? He's about business news.
Hey, Freight in Review coming at you in 30 seconds. Hey, welcome to BCB's Freight and Review. We want to take a big look at some of this, at some of the freight tenders that we're seeing right now. Today, we're coming in right here at the blue at about 15,800 shipments. Now, I want you to see is what we believe is the new norm in shipping right now, is that what we see from now on is going to be the new trend. So we actually have a year's worth of trend going on right now for the first time. You see this big drop right here. That's the holiday. No big surprise. We drop. What I want you to pay attention to, though, is this. Back in 2019's down here in the purple. Back in 2019, the volume was 10,706. The significant thing about that is that's kind of the norm before COVID. 10,706 shipments. That's a 46% increase on freight today versus 2 years ago. A ton of freight moving out, 46% more volume moving through our system. Is it because of the unemployment? Is it because there were folks staying at home and just ordering? We're not going to really know that until probably the end of 22 or maybe even 2023, as the volumes are still considerably backed up in all the ports. They expect that those backups to extend all the way as we bring in freight, the washers and dryers, the cars, anything that requires a chip. As we continue to get those manufactured and get them brought in here, we expect that the volume stays the same all the way through 2022. That's how backed up we are right now. I want you to look at a couple of other things as well. When we see a hurricane, when we see something, a devastation to a city, we also see the mounting rejections. New Orleans right now, rejections are, and this is at the holiday, let's just call it almost 40% rejected freight going into New Orleans. And again, it's pretty simple. Is first of all, there's a lot of freight not even being tendered to Orleans. Why? Because you can't get there. Yet almost 40% of that freight today is being rejected into New Orleans, which when New Orleans opens up, hey, guess what? There's going to be such a backlog of freight. The rates are going to get crazy because it's going to get hard to be able to get in there and leave that area with freight. I also want you to look at some of this right here. We look up in the Northeast. We look at the rejection rates right here. Again, before this holiday just hit, we're about 33% on rejected freight out of that Allentown area, very heavy area. We look at this right here, 29% of that short haul freight being rejected. Again, the New York, the New Jerseys, they're not open to receive. A lot of that freight's not even being tendered right now. When that gets tendered, how are we going to get the freight to them? If we're already sitting at 29%, does that rejection freight get up to 40%, 43%? Shippers, you've got to be aware that when you're shipping from Allentown, from that Northeast into in anywhere up there, boy, it's going to be tough to get away with your current rates, right? You may have to pay spot rates to get your freight delivered. The long haul, much less at 20%. And that's pretty simple, right? If I'm in Allentown, just get me the heck out. Long, go the other way. They don't want to take their trucks and sit there and wait for New York to open up, for New Jersey to wake up. The freight markets right now are in total mess. A lot of freight, devastation in the West, affecting the produce, affecting the trees, affecting the timber that's coming out. A lot of, and then we don't have to even talk about Ida. From Louisiana all the way up to the Northeast, devastation everywhere. We talked about this last week. How does FEMA make it through this? I'm curious to see. There aren't any trailers for them to use right now. There aren't any reefers. There's no dry vans. The carriers today are as busy as we have ever seen. We look at the volume across America again. Let's go back to a year on the this is gonna be the van, okay, dry van. Look at our volume up here compared to where it was back in 2019. And you think about Katrina, you think about some of these hurricanes that we've gone through when FEMA had it. And I go back and I say, we're at almost 47% more freight today than we had the last time we had a major hurricane. How are they going to get these trailers, these reefer units? How are we going to handle all the FEMA with all the freight? Boy, it's freight challenge heaven. It's freight challenge galore, right in the middle of peak season as well. Hey, we'll be back with you in about a minute and a half. welcome back to BCB Live. We're the safest station in the nation. Drive safe, Dave. We see all the devastation going on across this country. Yep. I mean, and it's very well. It's spread out all over the place.
Yes.
And I can't help but think right now man, what I would do right now to have another city, a city, Drive Safe Dave, where you woke up and it was sunshine all the day, a world in which there was no crime, Drive Safe Dave,
wow.
A world in which you were 15 minutes from anywhere.
Utopia,
Tolosa, or whatever it's called. Have you heard about this right here?
Yeah, I saw this. And I just have lots of questions. But you know what? Pretty interesting idea. I think they tried to build a dome city once before, and it didn't work out too well. But
so this is a vision from Mark Lohr. Mark Lohr, a billionaire executive from Walmart.
Walmart. Yeah.
First of all, isn't it M-A-R-K? I mean, why M-A-R-C? Anyway, so Mark Lohr, that's his name. I get it. Hey, all he's asking for, Drive Safe Dave, is about $400 billion in funding, and I can help you, and a location, right? We still are trying to decide, is it Arizona? Is it Texas? Is it Utah? Where are we going to put this make-believe city? But for $400 billion, hey, I can come up with some pretty cool ideas, too.
Yeah, and what's very interesting is they want to put it in a place in which is not normally appealing. They want to put it out in the middle of a desert,
yeah,
and they want to put it out where nobody goes, not really a destination spot. So I'm trying to figure this out a little bit. I'm trying to figure out it's not.
Well, they're looking for about 150,000 acres.
Oh yeah.
So just a decent sized city, and when you go back and look at this, they're saying this, Drive Safe, is that in this city, this self-contained city, you'll never be more than 15 minutes away from anything, like your job or, from the church, from the shopping center, from your neighbors, I guess. 15 minutes is the magic number that they're looking for.
Yeah, I think they're also talking about quick, transit, also fast transit inside the city. So, yeah, it'd be interesting. No traffic. So there's no 15-minute traffic. That's the best they got.
You know what? It's a couple things. This is just me. I mean, okay, we have Tesla, right? Now we have Telosa. I mean, is there any kind of connection there, Drive Safe?
I don't know. I'm sure there's a conspiracy somewhere going on with the what is it? And so where do you put this? You have a moment. Where would you like to put this destination spot that nobody wants to go to? Tell me.
You know what? Somewhere in Arizona. Somewhere that's just stinking hot. And you know what?
They already have a water problem. Why would you put a million people into
for $400 billion, I'm saying I can solve the water problem. For $400 billion, I can do that. Hey, producer, show us this vision if you can.
The video?
Yes.
Oh,
the vision.
This one's on skyscrapers.
It's not on the Telosa though?
No, but it's on the history of skyscrapers.
Oh my God! Well, that was a miscommunication.
They don't have enough money. They don't have enough money yet to create the renderings.
I thought we already had a rendering going. That was all we saw right there.
Are we going to see in a skyscraper? Are we going to see people building the Empire State Building?
How about this? How about the phrase that pays, and then we'll go into learn a little bit about skyscrapers. So Drive Safe, Dave, can you give us, and let me tell you something, don't show it yet.
Don't show it
you
yet.
Can show it, doesn't matter. Hey, if you got the one from yesterday.
It's no good.
We'll still go with it. If you remember it, you want to say it, go for it. Say that. We will honor that one. But this is the real one right here. The phrase that pays. Drive Safe, Dave, give it to us.
All right. This one here is, avoid a wreck, stash the tech.
One more time.
Avoid a wreck. Stash the tech.
Drive Safe, Dave, what does that mean?
Man, this is all about staying focused and not being distracted. This is all about putting away the phone, putting away the iPad, putting away the things that can distract you in the cab and not keep you focused on the road. And we want to make sure that you do that because we do not stay distracted driving.
Yeah, so, with distractions, Drive Safe, Dave, I want to kind of go into this. We have another minute and a half. So I got that dreaded call last night about 7 o'clock from Katie Bug. Katie Bug has been on BCB Live a couple times. She got into an accident, and she was frantic. And, of course, it's your girl, and you run out there and do that, and she's just crying the whole time, and I'm trying to keep her under control. I go get her, everything's fine, very little damage to the car, to her, no damage at all to her vehicle. But I looked at her phone, and she had it on Apple CarPlay. But again, Drive said, I'm just going to talk a little bit to you, our driver, and I'm going to continue to talk to her, my daughter, about understanding where you're going. She had it on the Apple CarPlay, the directions, and of course it says, hey, get in your left-hand lane, and she immediately tries to get in that left-hand lane. She didn't see the car. But what I'm saying, Drive Safe Dave, is when you pre-plan your trip, and I'm going to talk to her about that, is, hey, look where you're going to. Have an idea. I don't think GPS should get you through, so she was going just outside of Mansfield. Listen, Mansfield. You have to at least know, I'm going to take X road up to Highway 287, and I'm going to turn left there. Then when you get close to your destination, that's really when that Apple Play, that GPS should kind of kick in. As a driver, it's the same thing. If you're going from Dallas to Denver, you've got to know how you're going to get to Denver. And then when you get to the Havana exit, now's when you really want to kind of use that GPS.
Yeah, I mean, you talk old school stuff, and we always used to lay out the atlas maps, and you always used to go that. You can do that on your phone.
You can do that.
You can look at them. You don't have to have the old school maps, but you have the maps on your phone. You have the maps wherever you can go and kind of pre-plan what you do. But yeah, I see that today. My daughter alone, I was in the car with her the other day, and she was using the GPS just to run across town, and I'm like, don't you know where you're going? Yeah, aren't you aware? Aren't you already aware of your surroundings and have a good idea of where you need to go? Not just relying on the app, but relying on your own abilities too to find your way, because I think you'll pay more attention to what you're doing and where you're going, especially if you know what you're doing, right? If you know and you're comfortable with it. And I don't think you ever truly get comfortable with it unless you're not using the app.
I agree. If you're out there and you're driving and you're just got done with your ship, or you're going to your receiver, or you picked up and now you're going across the country, I just don't think that's the time to hit go now. I mean, how you're getting to I-40, right? You're going to take 40 all the way across, 35 all the way up. You're taking a highway to a certain point, and then you need that GPS. I get that part.
Yeah, I would tell you that most of the professional drivers already use things like Google Map to take a look at the area they're going to.
Expand it and look, right?
Yeah, already looking at the parking lot size, already looking at the entryways, already looking at, and they're already taking advantage of that, which we never had before, right? We always had to call and give the address where you're going. So, I mean, and get directions. But you know what? There's so many more tools. I'm not saying don't use the tools, but use them in a wise manner. And one of the things I think that we don't do well enough anymore is understand and learn out there on the road. If you just rely on the GPS, you're taking away from your own abilities too.
You are. Hey, this is BCB Live. We're the safest station in the nation. We're going to be right back with you in about a minute and a half with some traffic and weather.
The sky has long been a fascination, a realm of the gods, and civilizations have been building toward it for centuries. But a skyscraper is an altogether modern idea, made possible by modern technologies.
Skyscrapers are really an American invention. The first use of the word was around the 1880s. They were office buildings that concentrated a workforce. They employ technologies like the elevator, like steel construction, to build very efficiently and to pile a lot of space onto a small piece of land.
By using steel frames for structural support rather than heavy masonry walls, architects were able to get creative.
Skyscrapers began to get taller around the turn of the 20th century. There was competition to be the world's highest.
Hey, good morning, everybody. We're going to get you started off with a little bit of traffic. You can see just the kind of normal traffic, if you will, rush hour traffic around the Dallas area, coming in 114 there, running north and south. And then, of course, 30 coming through Dallas is always congested. Fort Worth area also got some here along the 183 that gets a little congested as well this time. And then where they're doing all the construction north of Fort Worth going out, you've got some delays as well. So next we go to Kansas City. You can see not too bad. Just a little section here coming down 2935 area. So Kansas City, you're looking really well this morning. Chicago, a little different story. You can see Chicago. Just about every entrance downtown or coming out has got some traffic jams going up during this rush hour. So if you're in Chicago, you got to slow down a little bit, right? Give them a break if it's construction, and then just keep that speed and space going in Chicago. Philadelphia, again, not horribly bad for Philadelphia, but you can see just about every highway has some kind of slowdown in it going around the Philadelphia area. And I know typically Philadelphia, like many of the major cities, has a lot of construction going on as well. As more drivers get out on the roads, they have to expand and work on these highways. So again, we'll go down to Atlanta. You can see Atlanta, typical, the north and south. There's no good place to live in Atlanta except maybe west of Atlanta, I guess, to get into the city. But you can see south, north, everywhere around it, and even coming from the east, you got a lot of traffic coming in and out of the city. And then we'll kind of finish up here with Nashville. Nashville, just 40, which is the main thoroughfare through there, is got some congestion, and 24 coming up south from the Georgia area also has some traffic delays as well. Hey, we'll take a quick break, be right back with some weather. All right, now we're going to quickly move to weather, and you can see there's just not a lot going on, just some scattered showers, mainly up here in northern Michigan, moving into Canada on the Great Lakes. But you can see not much going on anywhere else in the country, just a few pop-up showers. So to start our day today, we're going to have some decent weather to go, and the same with our wind gusts. You can see it's just really mild. Winds are not expected to get to be very much worse. Basically going to be in the northern area up here, you know, along the Canadian border, really. And then it drops down into Indiana, Chicago a little bit. And that's going to kind of be the norm throughout tomorrow as well. You can see it just kind of moves over. So really that upper just quadrant, Wisconsin, right across the Great Lakes into New York and New Hampshire, and our people up there, any driver up there, you might run into some wind gusts to this afternoon, but more likely tomorrow. Rain forecast, again, not that they need it, but we got another system. This is not a hurricane moving into the Gulf tomorrow, and you can kind of see as it goes through, it does weaken as it hits the Florida Panhandle. So this is forecasted. So the chance of rain is going to be heavy along the East Coast, and then a line running up there through New York and Pennsylvania and parts of New Jersey as well. We've been watching this guy here, Larry. Again, they're still not forecasting it to hit anywhere in the United States. He does get strong, and you can see he's going to move up there, and then this system that was down here moves off a little bit too and dies out as well. So really, all in all, a pretty good start to the week for us. We need that. We need them to dry out in New Orleans. And then again, just a quick little fire update. They made a little bit of headway, but to date right now, they are approaching 1.5 million acres of burnt acreage from the Caldor, and the Dixie alone has over 1 million, almost 1.25 million. And then they've got some more fires up here that everything's right around the 48% containment, if you will. So again, be mindful out there. If you're in smoke, just a reminder, if you see smoke, don't drive into it. Turn around, get a hold of your people there or local stations, information, if you will, and find out if it's safe to do so. And with that, we'll come right back with some safety.
Hey, welcome back to BCB Live. Buckle up, Bob. Boy, glad to see Larry kind of hanging out there in the ocean, right?
Yeah, we don't need Larry coming ashore. They did weaken it. I don't think it's going to make Category 3, but still, it was going to. It's a 2 now with about 120 miles sustained winds, but it's just going to linger out there and then move up to the Canada.
I did see what appeared to be maybe Friday a little bit of rain out there in that Pacific Northwest.
Yes.
Not California, but Oregon. It's getting close. It's getting close. Drive safe, Dave.
They need a little bit of rain. They need all they can get. I haven't watched the I-70 corridor. It's still open and running. There is a lot of smoke and haze up there that's lingering up in the mountains, but and also in that I-5 corridor, they're still open. They're still running. So I was just making sure in those areas.
Yeah, and the things you got to worry about now, and it's kind of a double-edged sword. If they get the rain, we need them to get small, light, steady rains, not heavy downpours, because again, all these trees are burnt. There's no root system. Yep. Then you got the mudslides. You got everything else to start to worry about if they get inundated with a ton of rain, which the fall typically brings as well.
How about a public service announcement, PSA, real quick? You've talked about avoiding the smoke, right? And when you see smoke, avoid it. And just for you out there that do smoke, you know what? What a good time to quit smoking today. You heard it from Buckle Up Bob saying, you know what? Stay away from the smoke and drive safe. Dave, I'm going to say, if you're telling our kids, if you're telling our drivers, stay away from the smoke, well, my God, why would you put that smoke inside your body intentionally? Drive safe, Dave.
I'm going to tell you, somebody that has smoked for over 30 years that I did and finally wised up and said, and put them down and walked away.
Oh, you're a wise guy.
Yeah, finally wised up, but I was stupid for about 35 years as I hit two packs of Marlboro Reds a day for 30 years. But I'll tell you, Rick's right. Put them down, walk away from them, and don't move over to the what is that thing called?
The vapes.
Vapes. Don't move to the vapes.
Well, some of them taste like cereal. Yeah, it tastes like Fruity Pebbles. We talked about that as well.
Doesn't make it any better, right?
Buckle up, Bob. What do we got going on in our world of safety today?
Well, we are focusing on the tailgating. Again, this is going to be a year-long thing with our speed and our tailgating. Just an everyday thing, actually, not a year-long thing. And so the second one is loss of life. And approximately 2,000 deaths a year are attributed to aggressive tailgating driving, right? And over 950,000 injuries, almost 1 million injuries a year attributed to tailgating and rear end accidents. We talked a little bit in the recent past about, the injuries are the really bad things about these tailgatings because they linger for years. So drivers, if you're convicted of something about being tailgating and stuff, the insurance, it's going to be hard to insure you because, again, they're going to linger for years. Typically, there's neck and back injuries or at least claims, if you will, with these rear-end accidents. And so you just got to quit tailgating and back off. And we're going to see some great videos of drivers doing that as well today. But just be mindful, 950,000 injuries a year based on just tailgating and aggressive driving.
Wow.
So with that, we'll go right into some videos. The first one, again, just a really good job. Situational awareness by this driver. It's a 2-lane road, not marked very well, so it looks like it's just been repaved. Cars making a turn, slow, space, just nice and easy. Well done.
Yes, great video there. Again, watch your speed, right? Look up ahead. The vision's there. We're looking out. We see the car. We see the blinker. We see him or her getting ready to turn. We slow down. We don't get on their tail. No chance of injury, no chance of accident right here. Phenomenal job. And we celebrate you, the drivers, that make these intentional decisions to keep your space there.
Yeah, and there was a dark car there. It was really hard to pick up early. Even though you're straight, you've got good vision, there's ways to miss this if you're distracted and not being focused there. Hey, this next one, we got a lot, and it'd be interesting for the driver, any drivers to comment on this. But the next video, there's a lot. We talk about getting the big picture and the situational awareness. Again, we got the stale green, right? And we talk about safe, safer, and safest. And so just to kind of touch on that a little bit, we've got the stale green. So what the driver did was stop. Probably in this case only, the safer thing to do would be to go on through it because you can see at the end, going to start backing up. Never a safe option. There you can just start to see the thing going. But then the safest thing is, hey, recognize it's a stale green, start to slow down and be prepared to stop. You know, one of the things in this video, the observations, you know, we talk a lot about situational awareness, was there was a yellow warning sign. It was about a truck limit. Then there was another one that says the right lane ends. So you know, and then you've got the intersection that you can see. You've got the green light. So again, you've got to process all these things and realize that there's a good chance this stays green for 6 seconds. When it went yellow, this truck was 1 second from that crosswalk. So really not enough time to react there, and then stops in the middle of the intersection, as you can see.
Was that a train? Was that also a railroad crossing sign? That I couldn't tell.
I did not see the railroad crossing sign, but at the end of this, it did look like there might have been one up ahead. But it was really hard to see, Dave, but did not see a sign, but up there I quite couldn't tell.
Yeah.
But, you know, and again, we know the intersections, right? The other thing you want to see as drivers is, hey, if you've got cameras, do the test captures and see if sometimes they'll vibrate and be off a little bit. What would have been nice here too is that scene, you know, again, the situational is the left mirror is invisible in the camera. And that's going to be critical out on the interstate, is to have that view. So you want to kind of periodically, maybe once a week, check your test camera angle, see if it's got everything centered in the frame so that you get. Again, these cameras have exonerated drivers more than convicted them, and that is the key thing. So you want them to get the best picture possible. But there's a lot of things to look at in that video.
Yeah, buckle up, Bob. One of the things that we can't see as well on this, and I wonder if it's maybe 3 seconds before the video starts on this one, is there a stop signal ahead coming up, a hidden stop signal sign up there to warn us, to let us know that there's a stop signal on the other side of this curb. Usually we'll see that when it's obstructed from trees as such. I wonder if that was there as well. And again, when you see those signs, boy, you've got to recognize that right around the corner, there is going to be a stoplight. And that gets us quite a bit. You know, as we've seen videos, Drive Safe Dave, we have seen more than a handful of drivers coming around a corner that all of a sudden, bam, stop sign or stoplight.
Yeah, there's a couple of things here that indicate that they've actually had problems here before. Number one, you had that forward stoplight that was right at your traffic line. That was right at the point of where you needed to stop, and that not only the one overhead, but it also had a couple to the right. So it obviously was a difficult intersection. It had problems before. They don't just start throwing lights up and stuff until they have more encountered problems. So this intersection is probably one of the more difficult intersections. You just got to be cautious of that and understand when you enter into that, and be aware that all these things that are going on indicate that this is a problem area.
Yes, and again, I'm going to, all the videos we've showed so far, we have yet to find one that wasn't marked. Yep. So I would agree. Plus, when you look at the fact that they had the right lane ending and a truck limit sign there closer to the intersection, I would bet that there probably was a stop ahead sign just right before that video started.
And let's go into the last thing in here. And I know this is a tough situation. I mean, at the end of the day, we're now inside this intersection. But how do we know there wasn't a car behind us following us the exact same? That couldn't see that, and we just backed up. We didn't get out and look, obviously. We back up. But how did we know that there wasn't a car that was tailgating us?
We don't.
We don't. Absolutely correct. And that's what I said. This was a great learning video. All the things that you have to process it showed. You know, like I said, I wrote down about 8 or 9 things, and it was just one of those things where, wow, you know, it gives me a little respect for the drivers, but it also shows how important it is to watch these videos and learn from them. You know, things that you can do. The driver stopped. Okay, was that the safest thing to do? No, probably. And then it was made worse by backing up. Versus probably the safer thing to do in that instance, right at that moment, was to go ahead and go through the yellow. But the safest thing is, hey, adjust your speed, pay attention to the signs.
Don't get yourself in that
that's
predicament,
correct.
Right? That's what we're after. We want to try to avoid the situation that you were in right there.
Correct.
Next video, sir.
Yeah, and we've got some great ones here. Again, these rural country roads, highways, right? Double yellow line. Great job again. Speed, residential, plenty of room to turn. Cars coming the other way, was able to stop if needed. Just a really great job again by this driver. You know, this is what you're looking for, especially on these 2-lane rural highways. You've got all kinds of driveways there you can see from houses and residential areas.
Yeah, kudos again. You know, great job, great space, great reduction in speed. just everything you want to see, especially out here on one of these two-laners.
You know, you look at that since you go into those, and this is a way different encounter than you have on the open road. Here you encounter an intersection every 25 to 50 feet because of the driveways. You've got overhanging branches and limbs you're watching out for, so you can make sure you got clearance. Also, you've got children in the area, maybe because this is in a rural area. You've got to make sure that you're watching out for all kinds of things. This has a great set of challenges on here that is different from the open road. This is a different area. You got to be aware of any of those things that can happen in those moments.
Yeah, I agree. And again, here, is this the same one? Oh, it is. Okay. Sorry
we're going to keep celebrating.
Yeah,
when we have videos to celebrate, we're going to go crazy.
You know, and the final weekend of the 100 Most Deadliest Days, right? And there's a bunch of good videos, which is really a testament to the drivers out there as you go through.
Hey, before we get to that fourth video, we want to remind you that if you have a question, a comment, you can raise your hand if you're following us on the GoToWebinar. Raise your hand, the producer will call on you, or you can email us at bcblive@bcb-live.com. That's bcblive@bcblive or bcb-live.com. Fourth video, or you got one more video?
One?
Yep. We do have a driver, Alan Arnold.
Let's do it, Mr. Allen.
Hey, what's our safety record?
112-6.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking on that, Alan. Fourth video, let's do it.
Again, great follow. You can see, man, this road, this is in Bossier City, Louisiana, and you can see the roads are horrible. But great job by this driver. Seeing the road, right? Traffic stop, not jumping out to the right in a merge lane, which would have been an unsafe thing to do, even though nobody's there. Somebody can come screaming up there, but staying in this lane, giving anybody that does come on, and they're just staying patient. Patient. Great job. Also, you know, again, it looks like everything's going to check up in front of them, but just another phenomenal job about situational awareness and just being patient. Great job by this driver as well.
You know, I like it when you slow and almost come to a complete stop. There's plenty of space between you. Look at the pavement between you.
Fix that road, Louisiana.
Yes.
Fix the road.
That's
Fix the
horrible.
highway. Seriously. I mean, we get speed bumps, but not on the highway.
I think that area has always been bad. I mean, I was there like 3 years ago traveling that highway, and it's always horrible.
It is always. Drivers will tell you they complain about it all the time, and it's
Don't get me
unbelievable. Boy, I tell you what. Hey, and I don't know if you caught that. I guess that was a Pennsylvania accent. What's the name of that city? Buckle up, Bob.
Pennsylvania?
No, the city where that was at.
Oh, Bossier. Did I say Bossier? Did I say Bossier? I probably did.
It's all right.
Bossier City.
They got casinos there. Rick and I know the name. Rick and I know the name. They got casinos there.
Well, that brings up a great point, man. Do you know and I don't know if it's still, I haven't checked a while, but for a few years ago, for 5 or 6 years in a running, 2 states always got voted the worst roadways, and they would flip-flop just about every other year. Any idea what states them were?
I'm going to go Oklahoma and Louisiana.
No. So, Rick?
Louisiana and Mississippi.
No, Louisiana is not. It's Michigan and Pennsylvania. So, again, they would always flip. Who has the worst roads? I'm going to guess Louisiana had to be up there because I've never seen good highways in Louisiana.
So let me tell you something about when you get up to that northeast area, and again, as we spend a little bit of time talking about the infrastructure, just for a second, you know, Drive Safe Dave, with those on and off ramps up in the northeast, they're brutal.
They are.
I mean, it's not like what we have here in Texas where you have, you know, a mile entrance onto the highway. They're just, it's there and you're on the highway. They're completely dangerous. They need to completely, I don't know how you redo those things. I guess it's just, you're kind of stuck with it, but they are the most unsafe entrances to a highway anywhere.
Yeah, no, and a lot of those things, and it's not just Pennsylvania, but it's anywhere that there's a lot of metropolitan area, they're crammed on space. So they'll exit and you'll do that quick loop around real fast. So you got to go from 65 down to 5 as you creep around and come back to the light. You got to almost come to a complete, because you're going to change a 180-degree direction in just a short amount of time. And not only that, and you know what's also, and we all laugh about it, but it seems like it doesn't matter if you have 15 feet to get onto the freeway or if you have 500 feet. that person in front of you wants to wait until they get on the freeway before they speed up to the speed of the traffic.
No, that's a great point. And everything out in that Northeast, you got to realize that infrastructure was built about 70 to 80 years ago. And I guarantee you not one person thought about a 53-foot trailer being hauled on them roads as well.
Oh, no.
And so, again, as the population went up, you're right, in the mountain area, there's no room. If you've got 200 feet, that's about it.
There weren't a lot of
most
Amish
cases.
pulling doubles back then, you know,
No, there
so
weren't.
getting on the highway system.
Do we have anybody?
I think we're call free today. So
Ooh.
you want to close this out with a prayer? Buckle up, Bob?
Yes, sir. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just we thank you for your loving grace and mercy, Lord. Lord, we have a lot of people recently that have lost close members to illness, some of it COVID, some of it other. Lord, we offer them and their families up to you for your continued and provided strength. Lord, we ask for special prayers for one of our own, Scott's daughter, who's in the hospital dealing with COVID. Lord, he confided in that, all prayers are welcome. And we just ask that you wrap your loving arms around her and help her continue to get better. She's making progress, Lord, and we ask that it continue to go favorably for her and for Scott and his family, Lord. Lord, again, we want to not forget our dear brother Larry Graham as he fights his terminal illness, Lord, and all those that are fighting some sort of battle, Lord. Let them all remember that they weren't meant or designed to do this alone, that they need your help and your guidance, Lord, and we ask that you allow their hearts to soften and turn to you for that much-needed help and strength. Lord, we thank you for your son, Jesus, and it is in his name we pray these things. Amen.
All right. Thank you for watching BCB Live. We're the safest station in the nation, and we'll be back to you this afternoon at 2 o'clock Central Time. God bless. Godspeed.
Drive safe.